I never thought it would end like this. Not in my life. Not with Mandy. We'd been together 15 years, 10 of them married. Met back in 2008 at some dull neighbor's party. She was working at a pharmacy, I was just a regular mechanic at Jerry's shop. It felt like we were meant to be. Everything clicked too fast. Maybe that should have been the first red flag. We had a cozy little house on the edge of a small town in Ohio. I ran my own garage, built it from scratch after Jerry let me go. Mandy helped with the paperwork, knew enough about taxes. I trusted her completely. Even gave her control over our accounts. "You're always covered in grease anyway," she'd say. "Let me at least handle the books." I shrugged. She was my wife. Why not? That day started like any other. Woke up at 6, drank black coffee, kissed Mandy on the cheek while she slept in her usual curled-up pose, then drove to work. The day was a mess. One customer didn't show, we installed the wrong filter on another car, third guy was clearly drunk but swore he could drive. Typical Tuesday. By lunch, my head was pounding. Took a couple painkillers from the drawer but they didn't help. Around 2, I told the guys I was heading home early. They could use some time without me hovering anyway. I figured I'd grab a pizza on the way and surprise Mandy with a movie night. We hadn't had one of those in a while. Life had gotten too hectic. Work, bills, endless we'll talk later conversations. 2 cars were parked out front when I got home. One sedan I recognized immediately, Travis, one of my employees. He'd been working at the shop for less than a year. The other, a white pickup, took me a second. Turned out it was Scott. My childhood friend. We grew up on the same street. Shared toys, teenage secrets. He'd been over a lot, helped us fix stuff around the house, brought wine on holidays. I didn't think anything of it at first. Maybe they dropped by to talk business. Climbed the porch steps, didn't even ring the bell, our doors always unlocked. Walked in, and I heard the sounds. The unmistakable ones. I froze. For a moment, I told myself it could be the TV. Or the radio. Anything. But the sounds got clearer, male voices, laughter, moaning. Mandy's voice. I moved slowly down the hallway, barely breathing. The bedroom door was cracked open. I crept closer. And there they were. All 3. Mandy in the middle. Travis on one side, Scott on the other. Naked, laughing, completely at ease. Like it wasn't someone else's home. Like she wasn't someone's wife. Like they did this all the time. My brain shut down. I didn't feel angry yet. Just a strange, detached chill. But my hands moved. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, held it at the edge of the door. I wasn't even sure why. Maybe so I wouldn't doubt myself later. So I wouldn't ever hear, "You misunderstood." I filmed for maybe 30 seconds. No sound. Just video. Enough. Then I put the phone away, turned around, and walked out. Quietly, so they wouldn't hear me. I knew right then screaming wouldn't change anything. No amount of yelling would make this hurt less. I didn't want to be the humiliated husband screaming in his own hallway. I wanted to be the man in control. It was warm outside, but I felt cold. Got in my truck, started the engine, drove straight back to the shop. Didn't turn on the radio. Didn't think. Just drove. Sat in my office, set the phone on the desk, stared at the screen. Then I played the video again. Watched it once. Uploaded it to the cloud. I didn't tell anyone. Not friends, not employees. I just kept working. Smiled at customers like nothing happened. Stayed late that night. Pulled out a notebook. Wrote down names, dates, events. Financial passwords. What Mandy had her name on. Which accounts were joint. Where she kept the documents. I wasn't angry. I didn't cry. I just got to work. I didn't go home that night. Booked a room at a motel on the edge of town. Slept badly. Kept waking up. Not from nightmares, just from the silence. It was too quiet. Like the whole world was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. And I made a decision. No yelling. No scenes. I destroy them not with rage, but with facts. Cold. Methodical. legal. And maybe one day, they'd all remember how Jake just came home early and didn't say a word. The first thing I realized the next morning was that I wasn't the same man who'd woken up yesterday. The man in the mirror had gray eyes that no longer held doubt. I knew exactly what I needed to do. This wasn't going to be a burst of rage. It would be a process. Long, cold. Precise. I got back to the garage at 8, business as usual. Greeted the guys, made coffee, sat in the office. 20 minutes later, Travis walked in. Tattoo on his leg. That same damn laugh I'd heard behind my bedroom door. He had no idea he was already a dead man, figuratively, of course. I looked at him like a walking mistake, unaware his life had already changed. A couple days later, I called him into my office. Told him we were having financial troubles, and we needed to cut staff. Offered a severance package to make it look clean. He looked surprised but figured he just got caught in the crossfire. Signed the papers, shook my hand. I was already typing a message to his wife, Laura. I knew Laura. We'd been to their backyard barbecue 2 summers ago. She laughed at Mandy's jokes and brought cherry pie she baked herself. I didn't say much in the message. Just, Laura, I know how this sounds, but you need to see it. I'm sorry. Then I attached the video. Nothing else? She read it within minutes. Blocked me shortly after. That was enough. The seed was planted. Scott was trickier. He didn't work for me. He didn't have a wife. But he did have a girlfriend, Haley. Young, jealous, intense. I knew their relationship was rocky. We'd had beers in his yard once, and she chewed him out in front of all of us. I remember thinking their whole thing was hanging by a thread. I was ready to cut it. I made a burner account. Found her on Instagram. Sent the same video, timestamped so Scott's face was clearly visible. The message read, "Want to know what he was doing Tuesday at 2:13 p.m.? She didn't reply, but within a couple of hours, every photo of them together disappeared from her feed. Later that night, her relationship status changed to single. 3 days later, Scott tried calling me. I didn't pick up. Mandy still had no idea. I acted normal. Ate breakfast. Watched football. Made jokes. She tried a little too hard to be sweet, offered to cook dinner, asked how work was. Maybe her guilt was finally waking up. I played the part of the old me. Because I needed time. Time and money. I started gathering paperwork for a divorce. Through a lawyer I knew, a discreet one, as he put it. I explained the situation. Showed him the video. He said I had a bulletproof case. I started moving money out of our joint accounts. Not all at once, just in small amounts to avoid suspicion. Some went to a personal account. Some I took out in cash. Mandy wasn't watching. She'd long since gotten used to me handling everything. Trust is a dangerous thing when you know how to use it. I checked which assets were under whose name. The house was joint, would have to be split. But the garage was mine. Sole owner. I made sure the paperwork was solid. Changed the passwords to the accounting software. If she noticed, she didn't mention it. And I kept playing the doting husband. For now. The hardest part was keeping a straight face. Every evening, I came home to the same woman who'd shattered me and had no idea I knew. I'd hear her talking to friends on the phone, laughing, talking about sales. I'd stand in the shower and remember her face in that video. Not to torture myself. Just to remember why I was doing this. Sometimes I wanted to scream. Just turn around and say, I know. You're filth. You betrayed me. But I shoved those thoughts away. Screaming is weakness. I wasn't weak anymore. I kept a second notebook, paper, hidden under the pillow at the motel I sometimes stayed in. In it, I wrote not just facts but thoughts. To remind myself how it felt. To avoid the trap of forgiveness. Sometimes I'd reread it and be shocked at how quickly a man changes when pushed the right way. 2 weeks after Travis was let go, I heard things were falling apart for him. Laura had kicked him out. He was sleeping in his car. Posted some cryptic quote about betrayal and truth on his story. 3 days later, he deleted his account. Scott tried to meet up with me. Said he wanted to talk like men. I didn't reply. Deleted the message. I had nothing to say to him. He hadn't just slept with my wife. He'd known me since we were kids. He knew what kind of man I was. Or thought he did. And Mandy, she was starting to get nervous. Started drinking wine in the evenings, which she never used to. Sometimes she'd bring up random topics. Asked if I still loved her. Said she felt distant from me. I nodded, told her, everything's fine, babe. I stroked her hair. I left little notes in her purse that said love you. All for the final act. I already knew what it would look like. Court date. Video submitted as evidence. Financial statements. Mandy's face when she realized I'd known the entire time. That her lies, her games, all of it had been played out while I watched in silence. I wasn't rushing. I was savoring every detail. Silent revenge speaks louder than any screaming match. I'd been putting off the conversation with my lawyer about our son. Anything involving Lucas didn't stir up rage, it brought fear. He was only 7. He didn't understand what was happening, but he could feel the tension in the house. One day, he asked, "Dad, are you mad at Mom?" I froze. He looked up at me with those wide, honest eyes kids have, the kind you can't lie to. I said, "No, son. Sometimes grown-ups just go quiet." But inside, I wasn't quiet anymore. The video I recorded the day was backed up in 3 places: the cloud, a hard drive, and a USB stick hidden in my shop drawer. I showed it to my attorney. He nodded. "We're not just filing for divorce. We're filing for full custody. And we've got a case." I didn't decide immediately. Fighting over a child isn't revenge. It's something else. It's about the future. But I knew if I left Lucas with Mandy, I'd never sleep again. A week later, we filed the suit. Everything was in the documentation. Timeline of events. Financial irregularities. The video, presented as evidence of emotional instability. My attorney suggested we also submit a dinner table recording, where Mandy, tipsy, admitted to the affair. I'd recorded it while pretending to forgive her. She opened up, not realizing I was setting another trap. I had become a predator, watching, waiting, collecting. Not a husband. A hunter. A day after we filed, I created an anonymous account. No personal info. I uploaded a clipped version of the video, no faces, just sound and silhouettes. I captioned it, "When you realize 15 years of marriage were fiction." This isn't revenge. It's a documentary of how a family dies. Draw your own conclusions. Day 1, 100 views. Day 2, 2,000. Day 3, it hit Reddit and TikTok. The comments were mixed: "You're a legend" versus "You're disgusting." Some people tried to figure out who was in the video, but I'd blurred and edited enough. No one could prove anything. Then I posted again. A screenshot of the custody filing. The caption: "When you love your son more than you want to forgive your wife." That one blew up. It was reposted everywhere. Memes started. I got messages from strangers: "Bro, you did what you had to, you spoke for all of us." But others came too. People saying, "You're a monster for dragging your kid into this isn't justice, it's a smear campaign." Some demanded I take it all down. Others called me a narcissist. A moral arsonist. At first I got angry. Then I just stopped reacting. They talked about me like I was a character, not a man. Like I wasn't someone whose hands shook when his son said the word mom. Mandy got called into HR at her job. A day later, she was suspended pending internal review. 2 weeks after that, she was let go. No official explanation, but she knew why. The rumors spread fast. Her friends stopped calling. Some unfollowed her. One mutual even posted, "Never thought she was capable of that." She started drinking more. I'd hear her crying at night. Sometimes loud. Sometimes just soft whimpers in the kitchen. She told Lucas she was sick. He started drawing her pictures. I'd watch it all, feeling myself tear apart inside. I was punishing her with truth, but truth was destroying everything. When the first court hearing came, she looked like a shadow. Pale, quiet, gray blazer. Her lawyer tried to defend her, but the evidence was too heavy. The judge granted me temporary custody. Mandy cried. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt heavy. Like I hadn't won, just swallowed something poisonous. That night, Lucas was on the floor playing with toys. "Dad, is Mom bad?" he asked. I sat down next to him. "No, son. Mom's a person. And people sometimes do dumb things." He nodded. "But you don't cry. That means you're strong." I smiled. "Couldn't help it. I have to be strong for you." But something inside me started to crack. When this began, I wanted justice. I wanted them to feel what I felt. But now, I watched my son living in a reality where his parents only spoke through lawyers. Where Mom cried at night. Where his bedroom was an item on a court list. One night I sat outside on the porch, staring up at the moon. One question kept echoing, "You won. But what did you destroy? Them? Myself? Or all of us?" The internet kept buzzing. My anonymous case was now a conversation topic. Some called me an example of masculine resolve. Others, a moral psychopath. Some said they'd have done the same. Others said I torched a life for attention. And yet now, every time I read the comments, I didn't feel pride. I felt cold. I'm not a hero. I'm a man who did what he thought was right. But maybe justice isn't always good. When pain becomes a weapon, there are no winners. After the court hearing, everything unraveled faster than I expected. It was like someone released the brake, and now the train was rolling downhill with no way to stop it. Mandy didn't just lose her job. She lost her face. People in town were talking. Not openly, it wasn't that kind of place, but the looks at the checkout line, whispers in the pharmacy, empty chairs at the cafe next to her now former friend, those said enough. I found out her family knew, especially her mother. One day I overheard her on the phone. "Mom, please stop. I know, okay? I didn't think it would go like this." Then came the tears, a slammed door. I didn't interfere. I just set my glass down and stepped outside. I didn't feel sorry. I felt nothing. A little later, I heard Travis got divorced. Laura took the kids and moved in with her sister. He quit his new job, moved to another state. Someone said they saw him going into a recovery center. Scott? Haley dumped him. He lost his apartment, racked up debt. Tried starting a YouTube channel. It flopped. He called me once, I didn't answer. Honestly, not out of spite anymore. I just didn't care. I watched it all like a movie. A film I'd written and directed. Every step, every collapse a direct result of my choices. I didn't just get revenge. I rewrote their lives. Flipped the board, swept off the pieces. Mandy was away more often now. Said she was going to job interviews. Sometimes didn't come home. One time I saw her hide a bottle under her jacket. I didn't say a word. I barely spoke to her anymore, only about Lucas. Strictly business. My lawyer said there were no real obstacles to full custody. She had no alibi, no job, no stability. We had everything, the video, audio, financial records. He even suggested we leave her with the bare minimum, just her personal belongings and the car. I didn't argue. And then I started drinking. At first, just a glass of wine. Then a few beers. Then whiskey, alone in the garage, in silence. I wasn't an alcoholic. I just didn't want to stay sober when things got too quiet. Sometimes I'd sit with that same USB stick in my hand. Plug it into the laptop. Watch the video that changed everything. Not for pleasure. Just to remind myself why things went the way they did. Sometimes I'd pause it on Mandy's face. Not out of hate. Just to look. I didn't recognize her. Sometimes, I even caught myself smiling. A dark, tired smile. Like the whole nightmare had been a play, and I'd finally gotten the lead role. I'd whisper to myself, "You did it, Jake. You showed them what betrayal costs." I kept writing in my notebook. There was no pain left. Just strategy. Analysis. Move by move. Like I was a chess player competing with a shadow. One day, I ran into an old neighbor, Dan. He nodded, gave me a look like he knew something. "Man, that was brutal," he said. I shrugged. "What would you have done?" He thought for a second. "I don't think I could have done it." "But you did. Guess that makes you stronger." I didn't know whether to feel proud or ashamed. Mandy wrote me a letter. A real one. Paper. Just 2 lines. I know it's my fault. I lost everything. I hope you at least found meaning in all this. I read it 10 times. Then I burned it. I wasn't looking for meaning. I was looking for balance. And I thought I found it when I destroyed everything around me. But for some reason, it only got quieter. One night, after drinking, I called her number. Not to talk. Just to hear if she'd pick up. Hello? Her voice was soft, scared. I hung up. Stared at the dark screen of my phone for a full minute. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy head. My son was asleep on the couch. Next to him, his backpack, a toy car, and a drawing. The 3 of us, smiling. Still together. I looked at him. And for the first time since all this began, I thought maybe I went too far. But that question didn't erase what I'd done. I couldn't go back. I'd come too far. I'd walked through fire. And now I stood staring at the scorched ruins, not with pride, but with a quiet understanding. I did this. No one else. And I have to live with it. These past few weeks, I felt like I've been living underground. No light, no air, no purpose. Just silence. I still saw Lucas on schedule, picked him up, played, dropped him back off. He didn't ask about his mom anymore. He'd just gotten quieter. Like me. We both lived under some kind of glass dome where nothing made a sound at full volume. The garage was still running, but I felt nothing for it. It used to be my work, my pride, my place. Now, just a building with tools. I didn't go there to work. I went there to stare at the walls. The cracks in the drywall started to feel familiar, like they'd seen what I'd been through too. One day, it hit me, I didn't do all this for justice. Not for my son. Not for truth. I did it so I wouldn't feel weak. So I wouldn't be that guy betrayed, humiliated, silent. I wanted the world to know I don't forgive. Ever. And I became that person. The one I used to fear. Cold. Calculated. Alone. I thought justice would give me control. Instead, it just burned everything alive inside me. Left me with the bitter taste of a victory that changed nothing. I sold the garage. The buyer, a young guy from Columbus, full of energy. Liked the location. Liked the equipment. Didn't ask questions. I handed him the keys without a word. The office only had a rag and an old coffee mug left. I walked out without looking back. That same day, I drove off. No goodbyes. No route planned. Just got in the truck, tossed a box of stuff on the passenger seat, and hit the road. 3 hours later, I crossed state lines. No one knew where I was now. And that was just fine. I was tired of being the topic. Tired of looks, of whispers. Tired of myself. I slept in motels. Ate from plastic trays. Sipped coffee while staring at my reflection in gas station windows. At some point, I realized I didn't just leave town. I left myself. Or the version of me I pretended to be. I made a new Reddit account. No name. No past posts. Just one of millions. I decided I'd post one last time. Not for likes. Not for sympathy. Just because stories should have some kind of ending. Or at least a line I wasn't willing to cross again. Here's what I wrote. Hey! I'm the guy who caught his wife with 2 men. The one who got revenge. Who filmed it? Who won custody? Who went viral? I thought justice would bring peace. It didn't. It just left me alone. I'm not in that town anymore. Not in that life. And honestly, I don't even know who I am now. There probably won't be an update. I'm not sure there should be. Take care of yourselves. And don't turn pain into a weapon unless you're ready to live with what it turns you into after you pull the trigger. I hit post. Stared at the screen. Then shut off the phone. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel anything. Not relief. Not fear. Not curiosity about the comments. Just quiet. And maybe that's what I'd been looking for all along.